It's the first edition of Face to Face for the year 2024. 2024 is crucial because it's an election year. Is the governing party going to break the eight, or the opposition party is going to come take over the seat of government, or the third force would succeed, or a third political party would emerge victorious? These are all questions that will be answered only after December 7, 2024. And of course, City FM and City TV will bring you exclusive coverage of the election, everything leading up to the election. And on Face to Face, we'll be doing the key interviews that matter as far as the elections are concerned and other matters of national interest. This is a YouTube channel of Face to Face. We're grateful that you subscribed. If you haven't, please subscribe and share the link for others to also get to view what we do here on Face to Face. My name is Umaru Sanda-Amadu, and my guest today is Member of Parliament for Abuakwa South. He has decided not to seek re-election, the Honorable Samuel Atta-Akyea. We'll talk to him about that particular decision and more. Please stay with us. You're welcome to the first edition of Face to Face on City TV. My name is Umaru Sanda-Amadu, and of course, being an election year 2024, you'd see a lot of interviews on Face to Face with politicians, those who are seeking power, those who already have power and want to maintain that. These are conversations we'll be having for you on various platforms on City TV, including here, Face to Face. And my guest today is a very experienced politician. He's been Member of Parliament, he's been Minister of State, and he's a lawyer. He's retiring from parliamentary duties as a Member of Parliament, but I'm not sure he's retiring from politics completely. I'll ask him questions about that. And definitely has not retired from the law. He appears to love the law, and he's doing the work of the law for the work of the Lord to continue. I believe he's putting all of that together. My guest, Samuel Atta-Akyea, Member of Parliament, Abuakwa South. He's my guest. Please join us and stay with us for that exciting conversation coming up next. Thank you for joining us on Face to Face. Let me now introduce to you my guest. My guest today is a lawyer, a very prominent one. Also has been Member of Parliament for the Abuakwa Constituency for more than 4 terms, and he's decided not to run again. He's been Minister for Works and Housing, the Honorable Samuel Atta-Akyea. You're welcome to Face to Face.
Yes, thank you so much, my dear brother.
How are you?
I'm very good today.
It's good to see you.
Same here.
I didn't add that you also are a man of God. You do that one on the side every night. Or it's an integral part of you?
It's an integral part of me. I do lay preaching.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
in your church?
Yes, in my church. Okay. And wherever I'm invited to. Yeah.
For someone who was supposed to have been a traditional ruler doing the preaching, I'm just trying to see how that worked out.
Well, in fact, we come from a strong, if you like, chieftaincy background. Where the Chihin is elevated and is still the one who is looking after the affairs of Chiman, which is 5 feet of the eastern region of Ghana. It is that very house that I come from. So I'm a royal of that house. There's no dispute about it, but it's like all the perceptions that anybody wants to have is his own. And you are elected to be X or Y.
Chieftaincy, are our laws continually frowning on the chieftaincy institution? Chieftaincy institution has a place, but is that place very significant in your view, looking at how the Constitution was crafted? For instance, if it comes to issues with water resources, we've handed over everything to the Water Resources Commission. If you look at the Act and all of these things, are we as a state deliberately foregoing chieftaincy institution, and what does that mean to our well-being as a state?
I do not believe that the power of chieftaincy can ever be taken away by anybody. Because if you care to know, it's hereditary. That is to say, people who come from a particular bloodline will permanently ascend the stool. They can never be whittled down historically where they are coming from. But I hold a humble view that it is for those who are important as chief to rise up in the face of nationhood and fit properly into nationhood. There's very little you can do about it. If the chief sees that this is what I should do so that I become very relevant to the entire society. I'm not going to fight the government of the day. I'm going to cooperate with the government of the day. And then I secure the best for my people. I think that will help a lot. If you care to know, the government and the chiefs can have a very positive and productive partnership. And that is all that we need. One area which I can see the chiefs helping a lot is this funny thing called galamsey.
Illegal mining.
Illegal mining. So if every chief of consequence said, in my backyard, I will not permit galamsey. I agree with President Akufo-Addo that is a menace to society. There is no sanity in this engagement because even if you are not careful, you have many rivers, you will be a net importer of potable water if you don't stop this menace. I think you will find a solution. So that is what I believe will make a chief very important, working hand in hand with the government of the day.
But we don't have traditional authority anymore. We have more political authority than traditional authority. So even if you're a chief or a traditional ruler, how much power do you really wield? How many people go to a chief's palace when there's an issue in their community versus those who go to the police station, for instance? How many people go to their member of parliament asking for development versus those who go to their chief? I'm just looking at it. Is there authority? Yeah,
there's authority. If you go to the background of, if the palace is not the background, you see a very good chief that everybody sees that you're a man of justice and honor, trying to resolve some of the matters outside court. And if they are very much convinced that this is a palace of justice, you find people trooping there rather than going to a law court where lawyers will take your blood or do something very serious and the technicalities and all the problems. So I'm saying that a chief can make himself very relevant and he will solve much more problems, and that will aid the entire government system.
So the institution should be maintained, even though we have challenges like double or multiple sale of lands, for instance. This is blamed on the chiefs or the traditional rulers, that they are the cause of all the land litigations we have in the courts. You think that we should still maintain that? We should, because the indecency of the man is not coterminous with the institution. So they've made you a king of a people, and they trusted that you were a man of honor and decency. But you are fond of double sale of land. So you are dishonoring the institution. So people should separate the man on the stool and the institution that is supposed to give it honor and importance. So you hear some of the kings of the land saying that if I should ever know that a subordinate has done the double sale, which anyway is a criminal offense, you know, I'll distill you. That is a serious kind of warning which will bring sanity to bear on land sales. But if the so-called, with a greater respect, chief in a place of honor is practicing active criminality in doing double sale, that leaves much to be desired. So if we are not careful, you look at the person and you think it's the same as the institution. The institution is not supposed to do that. What if we think that maybe becoming a challenge, let's put land administration under the district assemblies, municipal assemblies, and maybe local government authority? Would that solve the problem? Or because the state does not own land, you can't really even have that conversation?
As a matter of fact, you see, when you want to say that you should do nationalization, I don't think that is what even the Constitution intends. But they believe that there are land holdings that belong to families and chieftaincy houses and the rest of it. Those people are given power to convey land to individuals. They should do it decently.
You have talked about a constitution, and just a few days ago, you and I were at a forum where Afarijan, the former chairperson of the Electoral Commission, was giving us his verdict on the constitution, 30-year-old 1992 constitution. He has lifted some majors and also told us about the minors of the constitution. As a constitutional lawyer, among other things that you do, when you view that document we call the Constitution, has it served us well, or people are using it to fail to serve us well? What sense do you get when you reflect on our Constitution?
Well, if you pay regard to the democratic journey of America, they've done about 200 years. We are just 30 years old and it should minister to you that the Constitution has not been bad at all. There might be some challenges in relation to the Constitution, but with time, you will see that where we have to overhaul issues and even improve upon the Constitution by way of amendments, they will come. For instance, I'm a bit worried that we are unable to have a lot of governance practice at the local level. I believe that a lot of money should go to the local level. The MP's common fund and whatever it portends for the people in the locality. So do you want to look at the Constitution and say, let's deepen issues, how we are able to develop local area. We should not centralize development just from the Ministry of Finance, the rest of it.
But we are running a presidential system of governance, and the president has to be very powerful based on that system. If you try to strengthen the local authorities, you are reducing the powers of the president, and governments will generally frown on that because the president is the one who campaigns to be elected as the leader of the country. He needs the power to execute all the policies he promised, don't you think? If he has some local government guy who is not giving him the chance, or maybe not even from his political party, and that comes to the issue of electing MMDCs on partisan lines, it will become a problem, don't you think?
I do not think so. It's rather unburdening the president. If you want to centralize all power in one man in the manner that people want to talk about, that could have a lot of challenges. But if from the local level, the power trickles down and you have people who can minister to the needs of what is the locality, it will give the president a lot of room to understand what they are not representing to him from the local level. So anytime that you have a good governance system, it's always like strength at the local base, which will then feed into the central power. And when you look at it from that perspective, it helps. Because sometimes the president does not know all the problems in the locality. But the local people understand that this is our priority and that let's apply funds to where it matters the most for us. I think it's a good way of thinking and a good way of development.
Are you of the school of thought that thinks we should not necessarily review this Constitution, let's let the Supreme Court continually review it? Or you think we should go back to the shelves of 2010 and pick the reviewed Constitution and implement it, or at least put it to a vote?
Well, we should look at why the review. What aspects do you have in the Constitution that have not served us well? We have to look at it. Because now the journey is 30 years down the line. Which aspects of the Constitution that we want to say, had not helped us? Then we can look at the issue of review. But I don't believe in wholesale review. I believe in a review which is case by case and very relevant. And a review that you will say will advance our democratic ethos and journey rather than impede it. So if there are clauses or particular articles of the Constitution that we agree, are impeding our democratic journey, and it's about time that we reviewed that article. Like when you have a flat tire, you don't need too much common sense that, look, the car is not moving as we wanted. Because one of the tires are flat. You better remove that tire, probably replace it. Mm-hmm. That is my sense of this whole business of constitutional review. The Constitution should serve us. It shouldn't impede our progress. So if we agree that this particular article of the Constitution is impeding our progress, and I'm afraid we need to change it. So we'll be released into the area of development.
Let's look at how the Constitution reflects on our judiciary and our legislature. First, the judiciary. The president's power to appoint Supreme Court justices, I think High Court and Appeal Court justices. Mm-hmm. Does that truly reflect the independence of the judiciary? That's one. And again, how do you regulate and control the parking of the bench?
People have used the word parking of the bench for the simple reason that they do not understand even the inundation of cases before the Supreme Court. As a matter of fact, if you pay regard to some of the law reports, you find Supreme Court judges coming to sit as High Court judges. There are several of them that you see. But now, the 5 jurisdictions of the Supreme Court, serious, and we have, if you like, we have really become big. A lot of cases go to the Supreme Court, a lot. The Supreme Court is as serious as any other court in terms of influx of cases. That is why if you have 12 good justices of the Supreme Court, then they could do some serious work. So let's see this a problem from the perspective of enlargement of litigation right now and the necessity to have good hands to deal with them. That's the first. The second thing is that I do not believe that you can have a president who will say that irrespective of even space, I'm going to just add 30 individuals to the Supreme Court. If you pay regard to what I'm seeing, some of them are hesitant. And it takes a very wise president to say that I don't want to sort of deprive them of the wherewithal to do the job. So whilst you hesitate maybe in June, let me appoint somebody else. So that at the end of the day, when somebody goes out of the system, there's a smooth replacement to help in the work of the Supreme Court.
How do you deal with the politicization of the judiciary? Because when the president makes the appointment, whether you like it or not, people will start seeing that appointee in a certain light.
Well, it's how they perform when they get there. And we are even educated. I've forgotten the case that some people perceive that some judges were MPP, but they ruled against MPP. So when you get in there, you shouldn't have party colors. You are supposed to uphold the law and deliver justice.
I know that we learn a lot from America. The presidents appoint the Supreme Court justices, but I'm looking at the independence of the judiciary. Should we not let the judiciary self-elect or, promote people to be Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, High Court judge and all of that? And maybe the senior most on the bench becomes the Chief Justice rather than an interference from the executive side?
I don't think so, because that will be self-serving. You see, because the executive is elected, and then the judiciary is elected, and then they are appointed. There's nowhere that is said, okay, treat yourself as you want. So in the interconnectedness and separation of powers, there's always one arm of government coming to the space of the other. And that is what this whole business of separation of powers is about. There is also interconnectedness. But if you said, leave the judiciary to function by themselves, then they become a world unto themselves. But I don't think that is the intent of a democratic arrangement. There should always be another arm of government working in your space, and then the other way around. So when we send, we have come out with a law like the legislature, and it's inconsistent with the Constitution, we don't sit on our own case. It goes to another arm of government, the judiciary, where they can come out strongly
and strike it down.
So
So looking at that again, the Constitution still says the president should appoint a certain number of ministers, and it has to be majority of his government from Parliament. There's a view that weakens Parliament, and also it affects both executive and judiciary. The president does not have the free will to choose people he wants into his government. The legislature also now becomes a rubber stamp for the executive. What's your view on that, insofar as the Constitution dictates that?
I hold a view that it ties the hand of the president. You see, but the president should have a free hand to decide who will serve his purpose. So if some members of the Parliament are not good for the business, they should become ministers by reason of the constitutional imposition on the president.
An obligation.
An obligation. And also, the legislature is weakened because you can't be the Minister for Works and Housing and disagree with the president. So,
on work policies,
yes,
on housing policies.
On housing policies. So I agree that fetter, we should look at it and possibly remove it so that he has a free hand. And people will be in the Parliament and do serious business. If there is the necessity for the president to make some members of Parliament his ministers, he should have the free hand to do it. But to say that this is a threshold he should meet, I believe is a bit difficult for the president.
So it's something you would want to see change?
Oh, yes. I don't believe
even though
good.
History teaches us that in the time that we did not have this happening, the president lost a crucial vote in Parliament on his budget. And so in order to cure that, let's ensure that the president has some command in the legislature. How do you marry that? Well,
it could be the nature of the budget. And do not use one bad incident to foist, an arrangement on us. That is what happened. What was it in the budget which was so terrible that it couldn't pass? You should look at it. And then when we know that we are doing good things, you will see that even the people who oppose you will come online. And that is what is very, very good for the governance of the nation. There can be a situation in which you will say that, there is this budget, it is so good, I've persuaded, the people on the other side, they understand where we are going with this nation. It should pass. It will pass. And also, do not treat opposition as, if you like,
enemies
or an appendage of government. No. The opposition is part of the governance system in the sense that they wake you up to see certain things. So when you're doing something of critical importance, where is the buying? So I can see that you cannot govern too well if you don't do cross-fertilization. Sometimes you need to approach the opposition and let them understand why this and why not that. But if you believe that you have the government and you are always, foisting issues on the opposition that you don't even get an understanding about the matter, no stakeholder engagement, you treat the opposition shabbily, you might have crisis because you need them.
Very well. This is Face to Face on City TV. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. My guest is Honorable Samuel Atta-Akyea, MP, Abuakwa South, former Minister for Works and Housing. We're just talking about the law, the legislature, the judiciary. That's the constitution. When we come back, I'm going to talk to him about his tenure in Parliament, what he's going to miss most in Parliament, what his biggest achievements in Parliament were, and also his biggest achievements in the executive, having served both, and what the future of Atta-Akyea in Ghana is. Is he going to go to become a chief? Please stay with us.
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and Star Times box. City TV, it's your world.
You're welcome back. This Face to Face on City TV. My guest is a man who replaced President Akufo-Addo in Parliament, coming from the Abuakwa South Constituency, Honorable Samuel Atta-Akyea. Do you remember your first day in Parliament? How was it like?
It was very interesting. It was on the 7th of January 2009 that we were sworn in.
You and Atta Mills?
Yes. I went into opposition. So that was my debut. And I was in opposition for 2 terms.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you were in the wilderness for some time.
That was what it was. Yeah.
But you entered, or you came in there with so much hope that your candidate at the time, Akufo-Addo, would win the 2008 election, so that when you come, you would become a member of the governing party. Things didn't go that way. Did it disorient you, or you thought that this is a bigger task? Now it's my duty to hold this government accountable. How was your mindset? How was your approach like?
It was a bit disappointing, having regard to all the reverses the president suffered, the rest of it. But here we are, we've been sworn in. What are you going to do? You need to pay regard to the office that you've been sworn in and bring honor and some integrity and hard work to bear on the office. So I didn't say, okay, by reason of the fact that President Akufo-Addo never became the president at the time I entered Parliament, I'm going to give Parliament a shabby treatment. So when you saw me, that my little training I've had as a lawyer, I I was very strong in the parliament. I was showcased big time on the appointment committee. Here's a guy who is very interested in the job he's doing. So that is what it is. When you are signed on to do any serious job, give it your maximum best and leave the rest to nature and time. And then you will see that it pays off eventually.
You were filling very big shoes. How did that make you feel? You're replacing someone who has just been elevated to be leader of your party, a respected lawyer. He has been powerful in parliament. You were supposed to be in his shadows. How was that like?
It was amazing, you know. If anybody knows President Akufo-Addo, he's not an ordinary man. I'll say it all the time. He's not perfect. He has his foibles. But President Akufo-Addo is a serious man in terms of his advocacy, his passion to achieve results, and the rest of it. I've never met a man who was as eloquent as President Akufo-Addo when I came to the bar. So, as you rightly said, it was a huge space that I was going to fill, but everybody should do his best and avoid vain comparisons. I did not see myself as becoming President Akufo-Addo overnight, but the records will show.
Did you train in his chambers?
I did.
You did?
I did.
Were you handpicked or you were contested in the primaries to become the candidates? How did you become?
It was a contest. Yes, when he left Abuakwa South, I think we were about 4 people. I mean, who
from the MPP side.
From the MPP side.
And you won.
And I won.
And of course, general elections are not a big problem for you in Abuakwa South.
Yes.
You would have easily won.
Yes.
So it wasn't like he gave you a blessing, because we are seeing now Joseph Osewusu has blessed someone publicly to succeed him. You didn't have that.
No,
no.
I went for a contest.
What do you think about that, where outgoing politicians endorse someone? There's a view that he knows the constituency, he knows what the constituency is, so let me give these people this person, so I'm handing this person over to them. There's another view that no, you are a father of the area, do not choose somebody. I'm asking you because you're also leaving now. Have you chosen someone? Are you telling your constituents that this is the person I want, or you want to leave them to decide on their own? Well,
it depends. The variables of the locality. For example, if you were a leader and you are hesitant, but you believe that, looking at the individuals who are trying to succeed you, this can do a better job than this other person, you might elect to do so. You might also be quiet about it and credit the delegates with a modicum of decency and common sense to pick somebody who best represent their interests. So these are the 2 issues that people look at. Some people believe that endorse somebody. Others believe that leave it to the people to decide.
What's your approach?
I will leave it to the people to decide.
So you don't have a favorite in this contest?
I do not have one.
But you have people jostling to replace you?
Oh, yes.
I'm sure you have a preference, but you won't tell me, will you?
Well, as it stands now, I should have a preference because, you see, I have a sense of life and a sense of tomorrow for the constituency and beyond. Yes.
Who do you want to leave the constituency? Whose hands do you want to leave the constituency in? And when I say who, you don't have to mention a name, because I don't think you want to do that. But describe the kind of person you hope the delegates will choose to replace you.
The first and foremost, character and integrity. Because for me, it's not even your eloquence or how you believe you can, do work in the house and it will be captured in the hands and the rest. Are you a man of integrity? Can people trust you? Where is your money coming from? It's so important. Is it a con job that these delegates are going to go through? This individual has character and they have the heart of the delegates at heart, so that they will not put confidence in the now tokens. The coins, and people believe when they receive it, they can go to bed and see a future in the hands of a good man. I believe that is very, very important. The rest of it, my good brother, even if you are intellectually challenged and you are ready to learn, somebody can show you up. But if you are a moral cripple, how would you rise and walk? That is how I see life. There is nothing which is as important as the character of a man. All others, you can even outsource. How to dress well, how to improve your, vocabulary, and maybe I could even hire you that would you want to put together a very, good statement, so I read it on the House floor in relation to a very topical person, not knowing that my scholarship and my external powers are coming from a background person, maybe a consultant. But what you can't buy is character. So character for me is superior to any other thing.
Do you get a sense that the people jostling to replace you have that kind of character that you are wishing and desiring?
Well, I believe one has it. That's my view. I believe the other one hasn't gotten it. So they should see through the two individuals who want to go into this context and make a decision. Guess what? If you choose wrongly, the mess is yours. If you choose right, you have what is right.
You are a wise man. You are going to be given a traditional role as a chief. It means that your community members think you are very wise and deserving of that position. You've been a lawyer. You have been a member of parliament. Why don't you guide the people in the direction of who this person with good character is and navigate them away from the person with a bad character? Why don't you use this opportunity now to do that?
You see, the issue on the ground is obvious to them already, especially those who believe that the association with me was evidence that they got a good person to replace Nana Akufo-Addo. So there's a whole, army of people who believe that, look, without me saying anything, this is the way to go.
Would you privately urge them on and direct them in which way to go, even if you don't do it publicly? Would you want to speak to delegates privately and say to them that, listen, this is what I have seen. I'm just saying to you, choose wisely, choose this person. Would you do something like that?
Yes.
You could do that?
Yes.
You could do that?
I could just engage them.
Okay.
And let them know that, don't play lottery with this matter. This office is very important, and it's for your future as well.
You mentioned tokens, and that's money. The money in the politics is becoming a problem. I don't know when you were coming in 2008, whether delegates were up for grabs with money the way it is now. What do you think can and should happen in terms of monetizing our electoral primaries all through to the national elections?
Well, it's unfortunate. I didn't have the levels of tokens as we have now. And they were looking at personalities as well. Who is a person to replace the great Akufo-Addo and what is done for Abuakwa South. But, my dear brother, what we are seeing is frightening. If an office is buyable, then the other variables don't matter. That's my fear. So, a man is actively involved in Galamsey, in the locality, and he has a deep pocket. That qualifies him to become an MP because of his deep pocket. Not that he has the decency, the moral character to help the people. That is my fear.
What does that say to the moral character of the people who elected him?
It is terrible.
So does it mean that the national morality itself is dwindling? Is that the sense you get? Because it's happening everywhere. So people with the deep pockets win.
It's equally horizontal. Because if the individuals who have the power to elect their leader believe that they don't have to look at what matters the most, but should take tokens and then elect, then that is what they will have. So it's not just the vertical that we should look at, but the horizontal is telling you a story. We don't care about anything. Just give us something for now.
So the leaders are a mirror of what society really wants to do then. So it's not a problem that can be cured, don't you think?
It's a difficult problem until they see that the people who are just at the horizontal will see that why do you want to exact such huge things from somebody before he's elected? There's a good friend of mine who mentioned he's a member of parliament. He told me he was not going to contest again. And I asked him, why don't you want to contest again? He said, I felt stupid that I want to go and help people and use my energies and deploy my talents for their future and their progress. I said, I want a gate fee. So the door is closed. Give me a gate fee.
Before I can solve your problem.
I can solve your problem. He felt insulted. And guess what? He was blessed that in the constituency he went unopposed. But for that, I knew that guy would join the group who I say that enough is enough.
Why did you join the group of 18? Why are you deciding to quit politics?
Well, I believe 16 years is a good enough time to hang your gloves I'm not a young man. Come August 20th, your brother will be 62 years old.
You're retired.
Yes. And what I have to do is look at my legacy years as well. There is no serious undertaking in the politics than to become a member of parliament. I believe becoming a member of parliament is the most difficult, vocations anybody can go for. You know, Jesus said, the poor will always be with you, as if you were called to solve mass poverty. And that is one of the things people just overlook. You can never meet the needs of a constituency in terms of the demands on you, the incessant individual demands on you. It's not like you going to roll out a very decent water closet to meet the public. It is very good. You look at this particular community, what they need is that let's move into water closet system. That's one of the things I did for my constituency. That we shouldn't go this Atta-Akyea and the rest of it. But if they are ready and they are decent enough to use water closet, fine. Right. If you did community projects, it is good for the community. What about incessant demands on the MP by the constituency? For example, how do you feel buying a coffin for a family in relation to a diseased individual you don't even know?
These are things that you are forced to do.
Oh, please.
But 16 years is not that much. Nancy Pelosi has been a member of parliament in the U.S., I think around the same time I was born, or even before I was born. Until recently, she was in the House and even rose to become the Speaker. We know that experience counts, experience matters.
Very important.
So 16 years, you haven't done much.
I've not done much.
So why do you quit at 16?
In terms of the Ghanaian contest, I've done much.
Really?
Nancy Pelosi will never have an arraignment that when it's 4 a.m., there's a queue behind her wall that, look, I want this, I want that, I want this. There's a very interesting establishment mentality that people don't know. They will see you as a very terrible man if today you give somebody 2,000 Ghana cedis and the person took it from your hand and you were vilified. He went to the village and said, when I traveled all the way to come and see Atta-Akyea, he gave me only 2,000 Ghana cedis, which might be the monthly salary of an individual, who's been struggling the whole of the month. The person took it in a day, but the person is going to say that the guy is mean. He fails to see that he is not the only mouth you should feed.
There are 2,000 of those who are receiving the 2,000.
Oh, my brother, it's so unkind. It's not that cruel for people to use you. So if you are not ready to be used, I don't think MP is your vocation.
Are you leaving because of the incessant demands? Is that why?
No, I'm leaving. It's an interplay of factors to know when to stop. Even when the place before you go to Osafi, and you're enjoying it, you should know when to say it's enough. You are satisfied.
It's not that you're scared that you lose the primaries.
No. I'm not scared about that at all. But I've come to an age of political maturity that I should hand over my gloves. That is the sense of it. As for the problems that an MP will go through, those who are in a mad rush to become MPs, it started already. It started romancing the ground and people they are being taken care of, and some people believe that you should distribute this. It started already. And it's going to be their lot insofar as they want to become members of parliament.
So it just becomes worse, or it just gets worse?
It's getting worse, because what I'm hearing now is frightening. I don't see how anybody will say it is cheap to become a member of parliament.
If it's expensive, why are people in their droves fighting to be MPs?
Most of them are very ignorant. My sense of it is that if you're unable to solve your personal problems and you are not in charge of your personal economy and you are not successful as a private individual, you should dare to go and service the crowd. You can't, because the task on you is not a private one, like you feeding a wife and 3 children. It's a mass need. And your personal resources and their connections will count before you'll be able to even placate them. It's difficult to placate.
Could it be that once you become an MP, you can recoup all of that? That's why people are going?
Far from it. They will come and see soon. Because what you earn at the end of the month does not measure up to what you dole out. Sometimes, let me tell you one which will make you laugh. There's what we call the harvest period, where all the churches are doing harvest. So they place a demand on the MP that this is harvest time. We do want to give money to the church. My brother, last year, 2023, I've never had challenges like trying to dole out good monies to meet the needs of majority of the churches in Abuakwa South. Look at that.
And it's a regular thing.
Oh,
it's an annual affair.
It's incessant, not regular.
And it continues.
It continues. Funeral donations. People don't know that. Where did you invent it from? And now it's become that, say Papa we cry, my sister
Meanwhile, it's not your family.
It's not your
family. Typically, you should do that for family or friends.
That is what we're supposed to do. But the assumption, which I believe is very serious, that when you become an MP, you are the Father Christmas for the entire constituency. And it's frightening.
School fees.
Scholarships
that are people asking
Outdoorings. Yes.
People don't come to ask you to give them money to marry extra wives. That one you don't have. You're not from a community where that happens.
I've not made that experience before, but they could do it.
But there would also be genuine requests, right?
There will be very genuine requests. Here is a very brilliant young man who needs money for school. And if you look at my common fund, as if I have the same heartbeat as the president. Education has eaten up a good chunk of my common fund, because I believe that when it comes to some other things, they can wait. But to stultify somebody's educational progress on the grounds of poverty, I believe is a tragedy nobody should encourage.
Final question of my ifs and whys you are leaving. Are you leaving because the president didn't give you a job, and so you cannot match up with the demand of the constituency? You've been a minister before for 4 years. You had enough to take care of your constituency. This time around, the president didn't give you a job. So you are fed up. You are frustrated. You're like, I
don't think so. Because the president is acutely aware that for 2 terms I was in opposition. How was I able to maintain the constituency 8 years? That tells you that Atta-Akyea is not, excuse me to say, a low-cost MP. And I have really done stuff. But the whole point of the matter is that you should measure yourself well in your journey. Right now, do you know, if I'm no longer an MP, I have a whole world to myself to even invest in the Baumia undertaking. What is more glorious than that for us to break the 8? And now I'm removed from the constituency, trying to help a few people, than to put my energies behind a man that I believe all the crises we are talking about, the economy and whatever, is in his hands. People don't want to accept it, but that's the guy we need to change our fortunes. And that investment I'm ready to do.
This is Face to Face on City TV. My guest, Honorable Samuel Atta-Akyea. We'll come back. His biggest regrets in Parliament and his biggest success in Parliament as he quits. And what's he going to do when he leaves? I mean, he has a law firm he's running, but what will be the first thing he does on January 7, 2025? I'll ask him that. Please stay with us.
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and Star Times box. City TV, it's your world.
Yeah, welcome back. This Face to Face on City TV. Honorable Samuel Atta-Akyea, in the 16 years you've been in Parliament, what would be the thing that gives you the most satisfaction, so that you say, when I went, this is what I did, or this is what I took part, prevented or passed, that makes me happy, I sleep at night?
Well, a lot of them I cannot bring to mind everything that I've done in Parliament. But nobody can discount my scholarship. Nobody can say Atta-Akyea was watery. Everybody who encountered me, committee levels, even, what the Hansard will capture about me, will talk about some element of excellence about this man. I was not acerbic. I was not insulting. Nobody in the opposition will say, here's a quarrelsome, silly guy from Abuakwa South who is always, on the propaganda spree and is not on top of ideas. No. So for me, that is invaluable, where they reflect on you well, that you were a very sound personality and you mattered in the House. That's the first thing I talk about. There was nothing of consequence in terms of the laws we passed. That was not involving. Honorable H.M.N. Sabons used to tell me that you are a minister, but when we are doing the winnowing, which is the most difficult part of legislation, where we're looking at clause by clause, sentence by sentence.
You are there.
I was there. The Hansard will talk about it. Today, I'm one of the, if you like, the front runners of NPP. I've never been an absentee member of Parliament. My face is permanently in the House to glorify the new patriotic party. Because some of the things I was seeing for the first time was very embarrassing to me. That you turn your back and everybody is absent. So I saw that there's a necessity to do my work. So that is what I would say.
You mentioned Osechi Mensah. He's also not seeking re-election. Lots of you, the experienced ones, are leaving. 18 on your side, 18 on the NDC side. The House would suffer. The legislature would suffer. What do you make of that?
It is, to some a reasonable extent, a good assertion to make. But I don't believe that we are bereft of people who can continue, provided always a man wants to apply himself well to his work. My dear brother, it's a continual learning. You need to come under the colony of study. So right now, I believe that even by now the MPP should have a solid school to educate people how to become a very good legislature. All of us are there. They can deploy our resources to help people, but you can't push a man to study and become better. It's an election. So all the rest of them, the Honorable Boama, look at the force of the Minister for